Now, I've said this many times before, but China will try to do everything they can to remove Scott Morrison as the Prime Minister of Australia. His chief crime was to call China out. Remember, China knew how bad the coronavirus was when it started to spread at the end of 2019 and early 2020. It knew this because they decided to block domestic flights that would spread it around China, but kept international flights going. China, as a result, has tried to punish Australia economically for us trying to work out what happened in that pandemic, a pandemic that has killed millions of people around the world and thousands of people here in Australia. It is completely unacceptable that China seeks to bully us when they are the ones who did the wrong thing. Now, the reporting of Sherry Markson, the what happened in Wuhan stuff is all excellent. I suggest you go and have a look at it. But on top of all of that, the story about how China seeks to make the relationship between Australia and China about it'd all be fine if that awful Morrison just went away. Australia and China is great, but Morrison and China is really bad. He's the problem. Let's turn up the noise. Hence why you get the Labor Party saying they want to manage the relationship when it comes to China. That's code for you never call them out. Simultaneously, lefties say that Australia should lead the world on climate change, but should be last in the queue when it came out to calling out responsibility for COVID, for standing up for Western values. And one of the ways that China is seeking to get its revenge on Scott Morrison is to try to change the opinion of the 1.2 million people of Chinese descent who live in Australia and, of course, have a vote at the upcoming election. The social media platform WeChat is the way that many Australian politicians communicate with people in the Chinese languages. It is very popular with most, if not all, of those 1.2 million people. Well, guess who has just been blocked from that social media platform? It, of course, is Scott Morrison. Warren Brown did this cartoon very well about it all today in the Daily Telegraph newspaper, but this is a big deal. If you silence one political candidate from being able to speak to 1.2 million voters, then you are trying to affect the outcome. Remember, as media organisations have reported for months, that Chinese language news organisations in Australia actually take their marching orders in large part from Beijing. So make no mistake, they will attempt in multiple ways to make it seem like the Prime Minister is the problem, not a Prime Minister who stands up for Western values. Again, if you want to know the difference between one side and the other at this election, it's China, China, China. Well, thankfully, a collection of Liberal MPs have said they're not going to use the social media platform as well until the Prime Minister comes back.
It's really incumbent on all politicians to get off the platform. I think we should have a voluntary boycott off the platform.
Well, it's more than passing strange that the Labor opposition leader can go on to WeChat and the Prime Minister of Australia can't.
Well, frankly, on the way WeChat has behaved, I'd not only back James Patterson in encouraging parliamentarians to boycott WeChat, but I'd urge all those in Australia to have a second think about using WeChat as a platform.
So let's see, will Anthony Albanese say I'm not using WeChat until the Prime Minister comes back on it and is allowed back on it? Or, of course, will he be not asked any questions by a media who's quite fine with China interfering in our election by denying 1.2 million of our own citizens information about one of the two people most likely to become Prime Minister after the next election? Wait, watch and see. They want to talk about managing the relationship. I want to stand up for Western values and Australian values at that.